everybody, particularly our visitors from Holme Forward. What we're going to do, rather than have our visitors speak in the public session, we're going to, they'll be speaking later on, but we'll bring that item forward so that you don't have to sit through the all of the agenda up to that point. But unfortunately, really, there are a number of procedural items that we need to get through first, so that will not take very long. So there's nobody here for public question time, so we shall move on to recording of the meeting. So local council meetings can be recorded. It is being recorded. Does anybody wish to make an additional recording? No? Thank you. Silence is consent, I think. Right. Okay. Item 39. Is there anything on the agenda that you feel should be taken in private session? No? No? Okay. No items in private session. So we move on to item 40, which is apologies and reasons for absence. So the full list of apologies has been those apologising has been sent out earlier. So what we are consenting to are the reasons for absence, not the absence itself. So are we happy to consent to the reasons for absence? Yes, Colin.
Because of the email problems.
Because of the email problems. Well, I shall read out the names of those who have sent in. So the councillors who have sent apologies are councillors Ransby, Ryler, Brooke, Stewart, Fenwick, Davis, and Lyles. Okay. You're happy to consent to those that have received them? Yes, all in favour. Thank you. Right. Right. Moving on to item 41, which Jen Clark is going to report on, which is receipt of written declarations of pecuniary and other interests.
Yes, so updates have been received from and emailed out for councillors Bellamy, Blacker, Davis, Dixon, Green, Holmes, Kirkby, Osborne, Rostron, Ryler and Stewart. And once these have been noted, they will have signatures, addresses and other sensitive information redacted before being posted onto the HVPC website. So that's just a note.
Thank you. Can you note that? Noted? Thank you. Right. Item 42 is declaration of interest in agenda items and written dispensations. So again,
if I can remind everyone, one, if a member has listed in written declaration as a pecuniary or other interest, an organisation or body which features in the agenda, then this should be declared by the member. If the member has a pecuniary or other interest not listed in written declaration in an organisation or body which features in the agenda, then this should be declared. The onus is on individual members to make declarations appropriately, and failure to declare may constitute a breach of the Code of Conduct and may be reported by members of the public or other councillors to the monitoring officer.
thank you. So, any more? Jen?
So this is an opportunity now for people, if they want to declare interest, now's the point to do it.
Thanks. Right, let's start here.
Well, I attend Home Forward meetings on behalf of, with my role with the council and elsewhere, and also the civic, that's a standing dispensation. Yeah.
Interested in item number 51 regarding the planning committee because it affects my job role quite significantly.
Andy? Oh, sorry. Councillor Watson? Sorry, I just saw again. Your turn.
Civic, obviously dispensation, just speak but not vote.
Jenny,
I could just speak on the civic vision group. Do I need to declare that because I'm obviously a member of that group?
Well,
I've declared it anyway.
you've declared it, yeah. Okay. It would be awkward.
chair of planning.
Yeah.
Land charity.
Yeah.
And we're all on one chair, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, we are.
Right, so we've received declarations both from members and from officers, so let's move on from there. Right, so written dispensations, Jen, any?
No,
No.
none received this time.
Right, we've now got to the point where we are bringing the Holme vision forward item up the agenda. So and what we will do is ask you to speak for around 5 minutes. I think Steve is going to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and possibly the others. So about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Then we'll suspend standing orders so that councillors can you can ask and answer questions.
Thank you. I've got there are various bits of paper here, if you'd like to have them. I'm going to read from this first one that you'll receive, but there are others. And I think you've already received some information about the aims of Home First Forward. So you're going to get showered with paper, but I'm going to read from this first one that came out. So,
3 in total.
It's 4 in total.
4 in total. Thank you.
okay, so we've reached the end of the table there. So
You have to reach the end of the table,
yeah,
yes.
thank you. Okay, so I'm going to read through this and then over to you for questions or whatever else you want to do. So what do we do? Home First Forward brings together those who have legitimate interest in the future of Home Firth and are prepared to work together to promote the town as a place to spend time and money, to be with others and to have fun by promoting its attractions and heritage values, facilities, uniqueness and independence, and its businesses, festivals and events. Initiating new events, activities and campaigns aimed at attracting people into the town centre. Providing coordination and links to groups, businesses and organisations active in the town. Encouraging new businesses to the town. And working with and drawing together other groups, bodies, agencies and individuals with similar aims. Now that is from our website, and I do believe that you have a copy of that prior to this meeting. So I've noted here that we have various directors because we're a charitable company, and just to list several, we represent people active in community formation, in the arts, in heritage, in retail business, planning and in pride. And I would say that most of these people are professionals in one discipline or another, although obviously we all bring various gifts and contributions from different places. We have active links to various Home Firth organisations, the Conservation Group, the Civic Society, local churches, tourism partnership, festivals in folk, food and drink festivals, arts, Heritage Week, and I would say that those are very active connections. They're not just sort of dormant, they're actually active connections. And then of course residences, residence businesses, members of the district parish councillors, we've heard some of your members do attend, some more frequently than others, and then also employers and property owners. Members of Home Firth Forward have membership of the National Association of British Market Authorities, Civic Voice, and the Institute of Place Management, which is run out of Manchester Met University, and is a kind of updated planning version. I was a member of the Royal Town Planning Institute while I was practicing, but this is a kind of updated version of that. And we contributed to the Timpson report, which you may know, officially known as the High Street report in 2018, and a lot of what we do kind of flows from that. I thought it would be useful to give you headlines from a recent meeting, which is also on our website. Copies of that agenda, the notes of that meeting have been circulated to you, but just so that you know, so you get an idea of what actually happened. So obviously we have notes from previous meetings, conflicts of interest, what we call visibility here. We talk about the market, about pride, heritage. MIYH is make it your home first, which I'm sure you'll be familiar with. The finances, any other business. I don't know that anything else came out on the day of the next meeting. Actually, fairly straightforward. So I'm not going to say any more unless you ask me questions. But you will know Margaret. I'm sure many of you, and you will know Liz. Margaret's involved with any range of things. Liz is also very much with the arts scene around, and I'm sure plenty of other things as well. Heritage. Yes, so we go. So it goes on. So there we are.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Stephen. I suppose we need to make an apology that it's taken quite a long time for this for this invitation to actually come through. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming. Thank
Okay,
you for speaking.
much appreciated.
So just can we agree to suspend standing orders to ask questions and just for the show of hands? Yeah, thank you. Anybody have a question they wish to ask? Yes, Councillor Holmes.
Well, I really want to know the best way of the parish council. Well, how would you like the parish council to be working with you?
Well, there will be any number of ways depending on what subject we're dealing with, because as you gather we have a wide range of interests, and we do say very much that part of our aim is to work with and draw together other groups' bodies. So you're asking how you can do that. I think it will depend on the subject. I met the planning committee to talk about the market recently. That was great to be able to do that. I guess make it your home first is good. Various councillors get invitations to come to our meetings. I mean, please do, particularly if there's something that you feel is relevant. And over the years, a number of different councillors have come. Plenty more are invited, and, well, don't come. I think one of the things that I would say, as I was thinking about this on the way down, and my colleagues doubtless have other comments to make, but as I was writing this thing about us being professionals is actually, I think, quite important. We're not playing. Well, I could say you don't have to agree with everything we do, but to be respected for what we do, I think, I would hope, is important to us and to everybody. We can't expect to be agreed with everything, but I hope to be respected. Do you have anything else?
No, just to say, I think the valley's full of experienced and talented people. I don't think we're any different. Most of the people in the valley, in that respect.
And we want to be able to work in partnership in the full sense of what that word means. Trusted, professional, open communications, put aside our differences for the pursuance of the shared aims. Because I think at the heart of everybody, we want to see Home Firth thrive and prosper and be a place where people want to live, visit and work. It's in the interest of the town that we all work together different ways at different times.
Councillor Whitelaw, I think you had it.
Yeah, one of the things that a number of us on the council, and indeed elsewhere, have been musing about is the way in which we can support businesses and work with businesses. And the way things stand with the parish council's legal structuring, for want of a better description, is that there are things that we can and can't do. And I'm just wondering whether you have any suggestions about the way in which we might expand, shall we say, our involvement with businesses and perhaps work with organisations like Home Firth Forward, Home Valley Vision, H3T. We know H3T is disbanded as a formal organisation. Nevertheless, it functions as a very vocal organisation still. So it's that relationship building, I think, with the parish council and the business community, because we have wonderful relationships and doing all sorts of things with other organisations, but it's a for me it feels like a bit of a gap.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. And if I may step slightly to one side of Home First Forward and make reference to the work that's being done by the reference group on the local plan, one of the things that's come out of that is the richness and the complexity of the business population in the valley. And it's very easy to see the town centre as being businesses, but in fact the majority of businesses that are registered are related to property and construction and are largely invisible because they tend to be very small traders, apart from one or two. So understanding the nature, and I think the work of the reference group is doing, will draw attention to the richness of the business community. And the work that you yourself did with the agriculture shows just how interconnected all the businesses are. And to give a proper understanding of that, I think will be a really big step forward. Because employment in the valley isn't just about the shop owners, it's about the people that work in the shop, people that work in all the services, people that work in the health and beauty sector. And the sectors that tend not to be recognised, such as the importance of Airbnb. So it's understanding, I think, the complexity, which is one of the reasons why it's important that we have property owners and employers that are involved in Home First Forward, just as much as we do people that come from the different sorts of sectors that are in the town centre.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments? Anybody? Go on.
I would like to ask Margaret about the business association, which you say your Home First Forward looks after the business association. Am I right?
No.
He didn't say that, no.
No.
Well, what has Home First Forward got to do with the business association?
We've got representatives from businesses, but there is no business association in Home Firth at the moment, Ronald.
So you're telling me that the business association runs itself, looks after itself, and does things to keep Home Firth alive? Am I right in thinking that?
No, I'm sorry, Donald.
Well, you will be sorry, because it's never ever been a problem in Home Firth. The business associations, and I was involved with them for years, ran Home Firth businesses, they ran themselves. They didn't need people to come from afar.
Councillor Firth, please. I was going to say at the beginning of this meeting that we should treat everybody here with respect.
I'm trying to keep my temper.
And with politeness. Well, perhaps you could.
Well, if you're going to stop me talking, then I won't say anything else. I'll just say nothing. Get on with it.
You're welcome to carry on.
No, I'm
speaking,
not.
but
No.
not in that manner.
No, I'm sorry. If you can't listen to sense, then forget it.
Do you realise the Holme Business Association doesn't exist anymore?
Well,
That's what we're
that's
saying.
not what I've been told.
Well, that's just what we're
What
saying.
business doesn't exist?
Home Firth Business Association.
Can we just stop this point?
Yeah, I was going to say, since I've watched 4 business associations come and go, and my understanding is that they are it doesn't exist.
Right. Does anybody else wish to comment, ask a question? There were a couple of things I wanted to say. The first one is I am extremely grateful for the input from Home Firth Forward by Margaret to the reference group on the Kirklees Council updated the local plan. It's been invaluable given the range of contacts that you've got, and it has, I think, uncovered some very interesting material, as Margaret has just said. And then the second thing that I would like to recognise is the fact that you are an organisation with strong links to national bodies as well. And the consequence of that, of course, is information and material which is brought into the valley through that mechanism. So I mean, I feel that those things are incredibly positive. Do you anybody wish to respond from Holme forward or? Yeah.
Can I just ask,
Yeah.
mainly Lawrence and Steve, I think they're here, Julian's not here. So you represent Holme Forward as well, you're part of their trustee group, if you like? Is that correct? Or you attend their meetings?
It's not, it doesn't operate in that way. Holme Forward.
Yeah.
I attend meetings just as other people can also attend. I think, as I understand it, if it's people who have something to offer within their role, and my particular interest was tourism and heritage.
So we wouldn't necessarily have somebody from the parish council at every meeting that you run then? It would depend on the topics and the...
It would, and it depends whether they want to come. I mean, there is generally an open invitation to councillors to come, and indeed several do. Have done once maybe, or in fact quite regularly.
And are your minutes from your meetings, do you provided something today, they're available anywhere for us to
Yeah, they'll be on our website.
So I'm just thinking there, if we had parish councillors attending every meeting, they could come back to the council and say, look, Holme Forward are thinking about this, there's a close link between what we're doing and what they're doing, so there needs to be a conversation. If that doesn't happen, I think the onus is probably on the parish councils just to be aware of what's going on in Holme Forward, in case there is a link there that we can see, so we can come to you and take those.
Thank you, Councillor Kirby. Sorry, did you wish to make a comment?
Yes, I mean, one of the reasons why the invitation's gone out today is, if everyone remembers, not the last annual council meeting, but the one before, we, in error, appointed a representative from the parish council. We thought that was what you wanted, and it clearly wasn't. So we haven't got formal representation forward. Just wanted to be clear to everyone about that.
Thank you. Councillor Whitelaw.
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
Thank you. Right.
And could I also just respond to what Glenn's just been raising, because you're absolutely right. I think the overlap between our interests as a parish council and what Holme Forward's interests are is enormous. Under other circumstances, it may well have been the parish council or a parish council doing exactly what Holme Forward are currently doing, which is bringing organisations together, taking a lead, coordinating things and so on. I think certainly where there have been things that have been cropping up, they've just naturally come back into conversation here with things that are going on, you know, with Holme Forward. So I think council is kept informed, perhaps not formally, but
Can I just say that I went to the first meeting last time, and I found it very useful. You know, it was really interesting to know what else was happening in Holme, and I think as parish councillors that's important that we do keep abreast of what's happening. So thank you for inviting us.
May I just may I add that we invite the 3 ward councillors and have done for years, because we want to make sure that we've got good open communications with Kirklees Council as well. But we really do welcome people to come in and join the meetings.
Thank you. Any more comments or questions? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, so as we've been saying, you know, there are a lot of parallels, and we need to keep communicating. So thank you. You are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you could take the opportunity to.
Well, thank you. I suspect we'll. Could I just say, I think briefly, I've been in touch with councils, I think, half a dozen different places, and I am just very aware of the time and energy that it takes for councillors of whatever sort to do what they do. And I'm just immensely grateful that here we are, a lovely summer's evening, and you're spending it here. And, you know, and you're doing that volunteering on behalf of the community. So I just want to say thank you, because I just think that's really important. So there
You're
we are.
welcome.
Thank you, that's really
So
appreciated.
Sam, are you going to stay? Do you want to stay? And then
I think
back to the garden.
I...
Yeah, okay.
You don't know.
And you've already gone, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just don't want to nick a pen.
So-
No, I'm all right.
So we're moving on to item 43, which is the minutes of the annual council meeting on the 18th of May. Can we approve those minutes? Yes.
Which I just noticed today when I was preparing for the meeting. Minute 2627, number 23, on working groups. Point number 12, it refers to safeguarding working group, but what I didn't amend it from the agenda to the minutes. So what it should say is that the group is to continue with Councillor Blacker, Councillor Bailey, and Councillor Green and Councillor Stewart's membership.
Right, it's just, yeah.
So if everyone's happy for that amendment to be made.
Meeting. So are we happy to accept the minutes with that amendment? Thank you. Excellent. Thanks. Right. Are there any other actions arising from the minute, or any actions arising from the minutes that anybody wishes to raise?
I've got a list, Chair.
You've got
That's
a
okay.
list. I've got one, and you've got a list.
Right, so minute 2627, number 11, on Home Valley Parish Council policies. Number 1, the establishment of the policies and procedures working group to start with the review of vexatious and unreasonable complaints procedures. I think that will be taken to Finance and Management on the 10th of August. I don't think it went to the last Finance and Management meeting. It will go to the next one. The second point under the same minute, uploading updated policies to the website. The policies have been updated and they will be uploaded certainly by the end of next month. They might not be done yet. And the third point to do with this minute, notifying outside bodies of representatives for 2026-27. That's begun, but there are still some of the organisations that I need to get in touch with. So that's regarding that particular minute. If I move on to minute 2627, number 14, minutes of the council meeting from the 23rd of March. Arranging the first meeting of the IT working group, that remains an action for myself, and continued work to secure permission for the COVID memorial plinth, that remains an action for myself as well. And then moving on to minute 2627-23 working groups, setting up the code of conduct working group, that remains an action for myself, as does clarifying the destination of any surplus funds from the COVID Memorial Garden project. So that's it then. Yeah.
Can I just want to add something to 262723, which is about the working groups in general. Some of them are rather tiny and probably rather too tiny. I think if people had time to think about it a bit, I think it would be a good thing if there was more membership of some of those working groups. So if anybody who's interested in joining a working group, it's probably best to let you know, because it's when you have a very small working group of 3 people and one person can't attend, it's not really very good practice. So if you've had, there were so many went through at the annual council meeting, so if you've had time to think about it and think there might be an area that you're interested in, please come forward and join and attach yourself to a working group of your choice. Right. Okay, move on. Thank you. Okay. Minutes of standing committee meetings. So we need to approve the minutes of Finance and Management Committee meeting on the 1st of June. So we approve those minutes?
Can I say one very tiny point? We close at 8:30, not 9:30.
We have it.
Ah.
So we do expect this one to close before 9 as well.
You're doing quite well so far, aren't we?
I'm leaving at 9.
Right, climate, standing item, the climate emergency, item 45, it says.
Yeah, so members are reminded that decisions should be viewed through the lens of the Council's climate emergency declaration. As clerk, I don't have anything further to add at this point, but all members are encouraged to highlight any relevant implications as you progress through the agenda.
Thank you. Change of gear really. Moving on to financial matters, and item 46, council budget 26-27, etc. And this is Rich to report on this.
Yeah, not an awful lot of change as I reported to finance or indeed to the previous council meeting. We're still over budget on the two that I mentioned before, insurance and subscriptions. And obviously now we've got, we're going to be about 7,000 over budget on the freedom of information budget line 4260. A bit of sad news, I think. We got 435 quid back from an unspent grant, which is because Home Valley Lions have folded, so surprisingly. So you may remember we funded their Santa's sleigh, so they basically paid us back that money. They said they're down to 4 members, they're all getting older and just didn't have anybody to take it on. So that was rather a shame. I just want to make a point about, you know, I'm always going on about the levels of general reserves we have, and as Councillor Holmes said in finance, it only becomes problematic really at the end of April and the end of October, and this year again it was problematic at the end of April. The reasons for this, I mean, if you look at our expenditure against our income in April, our expenditure was about 34,000, our income was only £700. We also created a ton of earmark reserves, if you remember. So at the end of March, I think our earmark reserves were something like 30,000 quid, something like that. At the end of April, they were up to 100,000 quid. So you can't really move 60,000 quid and another 30. You can't move 90,000 quid out of general reserves without it causing some problems. So the levels of general reserves, I would say we should have 25%, so we've got 3 months worth of money available, but we were down to about 14%. It's irrelevant now because we've got tons of money again now because we've got the precepts, but if things had gone wrong and we hadn't got the precept, we'd have had enough money for about a month and a half of budget. So it's just something we need to be aware of, and I'll try and keep a more careful eye on it come October, November.
Any questions? See the schedule of payments.
Schedule of payments. So the May ones are just a note. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions. These, I mean, it did go through as a sort of draft one to finance, but this is kind of a finalised draft before it gets uploaded to the accounts package. I don't know if anybody's got any questions about any of it. The yellow ones are just things that I have to account for in last year's accounts. That's why that some of them are coloured yellow. No. Okay, no, I need to get approval for the June one. So there's 3 payments that do need approving. So as you're aware, we need approval for sort of out of the ordinary payments over £500. We've got 3. The No Name Civic Development Campaign. This is the remaining balance to No Name. We've got the professional fees regarding the civic lease to Ramsden Solicitors. That money was coming from general reserves. And then the final one is the Northern Content Company Limited, the videos that came from the tourism budget. Can I make a point about the tourism earmark reserve as well? You may remember that we were going to get rid of that essentially. I haven't closed it yet because we're still waiting for some. I think we've still got another invoice coming, and I don't really want it to come out of this year's money, seeing as it came out of last year's money.
Do you have a
There's
question?
no content.
Yeah, well, that,
She says that she sent all the invoices.
I think I've had one in the last couple of days that.
oh, right, okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
over the weekend,
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
not sent
yeah.
out onto you
Right,
yet,
right.
that'll be
So,
the
so
last.
as soon as that's paid, I'll close it, and then we should be back to as we were expecting to be at this time. Anyway, sorry. Back to the schedule of payment. So those are the three things: Northern Content, £450, Ramsden's £1,837.20, and No Name £864. If you could approve those, please.
Before you approve it, can I just say about the Ramsdens? It does come up, and I put it later in the agenda, but you noted the expenditure needed for the civic fees at an earlier meeting. I never actually got you to approve the expenditure. So I am just saying this now before you approve the payments, okay? And I will minute that I failed to get you to do that. It was just an oversight on my part. It was talked about, you all knew it was happening, but I never actually got you to take to consider a motion.
And that bill's cheaper than what it should have been.
And so it does come up later in the agenda as well, but this is the right place to raise it now.
Right, so we're being asked to approve three payments. So are all those in favour of approving those three payments? Thank you, that's passed. Okay, to move on, Rich.
Yep.
Yeah. To the AGAR, which is a bit more interesting than it might have been some previous years, I feel, with AGAR.
Yeah, it's getting longer. There's new forms appearing all the time. So you'll remember at finance that I said, remember me saying about whether she would class the trees we thought as assets or not. I put them down as an asset. She said they weren't assets. She said because they weren't on our land, they were on somebody else's land, that we couldn't class them as our assets. So I had to basically deduct the value of the trees from the asset pot. And then you will have noticed from the auditor's report, unfortunately she did fail us on assertion 10, which is this new one about you know, the IT policy and about data protection, that kind of thing. She failed us on that. Basically, I'd used a template from NALC, which I hoped was going to cover it all, but she was insisting that we needed a standalone policy on data protection, and we needed an audit of data that's held. And by that it meant we obviously hold a lot of personal data of, you know, councillors, of officers, of tenants, of grant applicants, and we have to do the audit to make sure that we're only keeping that information an appropriate length of time, and we're getting rid of, you know, we're essentially disposing of it at an appropriate time as well. So that's the nature of the audit. So that's why she failed us on assertion 10. I don't think it's a huge problem. We've got a whole year to deal with it now. You know, I've had a crack at the policy already, and I think what I've done is probably going to work fine. So that was something that we haven't passed on, which was disappointing, and I've had to complete. You'll see what was that bit? So document F, I have to put an explanation in for the reason of a no on section 1. So I've written out that it needs the clerk to sign it essentially. Everything else has been through finance as presented. I don't think there's anything being changed apart from, as I said, the overall asset figure. I don't think there was any particular controversy in finance. So unless anybody's got any questions about any of these forms or the information included in them, has anybody got anything you want to ask or?
Well done, Rich.
I think it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's disappointing that we failed on one thing. Yeah, but yeah.
Right, so
sorry, I just was asking Rich a question,
Yes.
so
Oh.
that's why I turned that way. You recognise that we weren't meeting all the requirements for IT or whatever
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is, so you'd hoped that the fact that you had it in hand would have been sufficient, and that proved not to be the case,
Yes, I
because
suppose
she
so.
didn't accept that we were making as much progress as we should be.
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so we've got to speed
She
up.
is a stickler, but it was a bit irritating because, you know, like, she is a clerk in her own council, and she said that their auditor just went away and, yeah, okay, that was it. Didn't go through it at all, but she's more of a stickler than that. Their own auditors. So.
We do need to get it right though.
No, I like her and I appreciate the amount of depth she gives to it all, so, yeah.
Good. Right, shall we go carefully through the noting and the approving that we're required to do?
I think I'd just do it as a job lot.
Sorry?
I would do it as a job lot.
Just so here's just at the top, we need to note the internal audit
Yeah.
report. We note
Noted.
that. Noted. Can we approve the action plan?
Yeah.
Approved, okay. And then so then there's that long list from item A to item P. No, item Q. It goes over the page. Can we please approve those? Approve all those in favour. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
An enormous thanks to Rich again. So the painstaking work, which somebody's trying our hardest to get our heads around and still wanted. Right, the next item 49 we've already dealt with because that was forward. So to move on to item 50, which is the Holme Valley Land Charity. Sorry, I missed something.
Maybe this is my understanding. At the end of the, have we dealt with the to consider any actions from Home Fair Forward discussion? Did we do that at the end of that?
Nobody brought forward anything specific, did they? But there was an expression of a desire to work. Yeah,
I'm just checking that
yeah.
it's dealt with.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, so moving on to the Holme Valley Land Charity. So this is an interesting one too.
Yes,
and this should put it to bed, I think. Right, Jen.
so it's a procedural step arising from the authorised signatories you agreed at annual council. You agreed the authorised signatories, but because this is about completion of a land transfer, you actually have to authorise it in relation to the land transfer as well, if that makes sense. So the land charity has asked that council, its sole trustee, approves the formal resolution contained in paper H to enable completion of the land transfer. Once approved, the two authorised signatories will sign that standalone document that was included in your papers for submission to the charity. If anyone's got any questions for me on that?
Am I right in saying we're going to transfer that land for £1,500? Is
Yes.
that what that says? Does not that
Yeah,
does
that's
that-
what I am.
does that not strike
Yeah.
anyone as being particularly low figure for any amount of land in Holme Valley?
I met Councillor Dixon report on this.
Yeah,
He's
it's
as chair of the land charity.
if you know the cliff site that the land charity has, there are like our boundary lines it's a bit wonky how it goes and things like that. And it's part of this land here, which is at the back of the neighbour's garden, which they've pretty much been tending to and looking after forever. But according to the deeds, it's not part of their land officially, even though it, in all purposes it probably is, and it probably doesn't have really that much value. I don't think it's very big, but it's just they wanted to formally approve it, take it on basically. Donna?
So, has there been an independent valuation done on it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
That's the
so
value.
what did that come back with? What you've said? Right,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
well that clears it up, because I
I
just
mean,
wanted
this
to know
is
that it's
obviously
been valued.
land
I know,
charity. Yeah,
I know which
charity
land
rather
it
than
is.
pa-
Yeah, I know which
rather
land
than-
it is.
rather than Parish Council business. So I think that's a bit taken on. So we need to approve the text which is there in the agenda, and it has to be this text because this is the stipulated text. So can I ask that you approve that text, please? All those in favour of approving that text?
Just
Oh,
before
you
you do
wanted
that,
to make a point, sorry.
do we know that, does this cover future land transfers? Nick did say, didn't he, that we've never been asked to do this, despite all the land transfer that's happened in the past. This is the first time, and it's the tiniest little bit of land you could wish to see. Now, does this cover us for everything in the future, or do we have to do this every time?
I think you'll have to do it every time. That's my understanding.
But you could probably just remove the text where it's got the address on it and just put a different address in it, I would imagine. But these things are never quite simple and never through solicitors, are they? As we all know.
Just thought this is the first time we've been asked.
Yeah.
I think everyone did before, like, the former did go through the solicitors about when we've sold things, but yeah, I appreciate that, yeah.
Okay. Can I just seek clarification? How many valuations did we get, or was it just the one?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
£1,500 is tiny.
It's
Can you imagine?
it really
It's a tiny piece of land.
It is very big.
Sorry, it is a very small piece of land, and the people that are buying it are paying most of the, the land charge is paying very little.
They weren't paying anything, like, basically they're paying the legal fees
Anything,
as well.
yeah.
And I think Lawrence used to live next door to it, didn't you, Lawrence?
I lived in it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you are talking less than a metre, I think, of width. I think that's right. It's a straightening up, and basically there's a little bit of garden, and then there's the banking up to the top of the cliff. That's right. Yeah. So it really is a tidying up thing rather than a parcel of land or anything like that. Right.
That's fair.
Question, could you build a house on this piece of land?
No.
Fine.
Maybe a dog kennel, but that's about it.
I'm going to watch these things now. Mine also be built in the back garden.
Right. I feel we're straying off here into land charity business, which really we should not be doing. So all we're being asked is to approve this form of words, which is the required form of words. So can I have a show of hands, please, to approve that text, which will then be signed by our. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, that's unanimous. Right, moving on to item 51, which is a report from the Committee Structures Working Group. I think Sarah's going to speak to this, but I just want to say something before Sarah speaks. All councillors were asked to let us know if they had views on this, and there was one response, which was from Councillor Bellamy, who may well recognise some of her words in the document.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Right. So thank you. I just wanted to say thank you. No,
Did you get mine? Yes. I did.
Yes, we did. Sorry, I do apologise. Yeah.
You did get it?
You did get it.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Right. Sarah.
Okay, well, everybody's had the documentation here in Appendix I1, and this is the ongoing looking at the planning committee and its functions and how we best serve the needs of the community through the things that we do in relation to planning. And the very small group, which was Mary and me and Steve Ransby, had a look at how we might improve what we do, and that was the purpose. Whether there was anything that we might do to change things that would make things better. And so what we've come up with is two options. One is to make no changes to the way in which we operate. But the second option, option B, is to put in some new arrangements. And I'm speaking for myself here, but it is there in the description that what the new arrangements, if they were adopted, would do is to make things easier for us to respond quickly. It gives us more flexibility because it creates a steering group rather than a formal committee, which can act extremely flexibly and quickly. It would be a case of all of the planning applications that come into the clerking office, going out to all councillors. They would then, as we do now, respond to any that they think it's appropriate for them to respond to. They would be able to take up any comments or approaches by people from their constituent, from their ward. So the option B is really, it's not worse than, it's better than, because it's more flexible. It would still have a chair, the chair of the steering group, as opposed to the planning committee, but it would enable us to work much more quickly and more flexibly. And behind that, as is the case now, of course, individual councillors can work with their people from their ward or from across the council to support their concerns, shall we say, at Kirklees planning. And one of the things that we talked about, and is in here, is that real focus on big planning applications that appear and being able to deal with that really very quickly by pulling the steering group together, by us taking views quickly and putting them out to councillors. Have I missed anything out?
No, I think that's fine, thank you, Mr. Wackman. Right, does anybody wish to comment? Sorry, Councillor Holme.
Yeah. So first, I want to acknowledge work that the committee structures working group have done. However, I've got some really serious concerns about discounting for the planning committee and replacing it with the planning steering group, because the agenda makes it clear that full council must choose between retaining it as a planning committee or disbanding it. And I don't think we should be really rushing into this, as the planning committee is one of the most visible and important parts of what we do. It provides structure, transparency and accountability. Residents expect planning matters to be scrutinised in clear democratic views, democratic settings, sorry. Other things on the end as well. And even if a steering group is open to the public, it does not carry the same weight or clarity of purpose. We're also, at this point, still waiting for Kirklees to conclude the community governance review. So if boundaries change and only become separate, we need to be very careful about dismantling structures that are currently serve the whole of the parish. Because once the committee is gone, as we know, they're not easy reinstated. So, I'll make my position as simple as it is. I support option A, and we retain it as it is with no changes. And that's.
Thank you. That's Nancy Barney. But anybody else in comments? Councillor Wackman?
Excuse my voice, it keeps going.
My head's full of
I think most people know my feelings about planning. I've been on the planning committee ever since I joined the council, which is getting up to 6 years ago now. And I did that for a reason, because I'm very concerned about what happens to our heritage in the valley. And I think members of the public are likewise. And we can evidence that because we probably get more members of the public coming to the planning committees than any other committee we have. But there is an interest from outside the council, and I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice by restricting that. When I look through the paper, there's an assertion in there that planning applications take most of the resources. I mean, in actual fact, now that we have a criteria list, planning applications are actually quite a small part of the planning meeting. And in fact, the last meeting we had, we did the planning applications in 20 minutes. So even if it took 30 minutes, it's about 25% of the meeting. The rest of the meeting is other matters. And those other matters are all sorts of things, highways issues, consultations, etc., etc. I'm not sure how we deal with those other matters if we didn't have that committee. It would get pushed on to other committees in some form. One of them perhaps being this one. And I think usually by the time we've got to 9 o'clock, we're all we've had enough without starting considering planning issues. We could actually shorten the time that we spend on planning applications further. The criteria list we use at the moment, which I know Mary did a great deal of work on producing that, I think could be refined further. We could take some more out that we look at, so that we really only focus on the ones that matter to us. So there's opportunity there to make that even quicker. There was a comment as well about 60% of the applications had a comment of defer to officers. Now, whilst that's strictly true, that's only because that's the standard comment we put against the ones that haven't made our cut. So, yes, there will be lots of comments that say defer to Kirklees. That's purely because we don't look at those. I'm assuming this proposed working group, a steering group, would report to full council. And in doing so, then we've added another delay. We only get 21 days to make comments on planning application. I think we're going to find it difficult to squeeze some of these in. We already missed the boat with some of the applications anyway, meeting monthly. So I don't see how that's going to help. So I'm very firmly want to retain the planning committee in its current form. Option A, is that? Yes.
So I propose that.
Right, we've got Councillor Morgan wishing to speak.
I just wanted to say that it's, I absolutely agree with you that people come to Parish Council with issues about planning applications. But the whole point of this is that nobody listens to the Parish Council for them to at least. So a Parish Council letter, no matter how beautifully written, has the same weight as a neighbour's letter or even an MP's letter. They're not given any more credence. And is that not the crux of why we're looking at this? It's actually because as much as we feel it's really good that we can discuss things with members of the public when we come, we're giving them false hope because this parish council does not affect Kirklees planning. It doesn't.
If I could just respond, we don't know that, do we? We don't.
Can I
Have you had a
just,
statement from Kirklees?
because a lot of people wish to make comments on this, and I would like people just to say once and not respond directly. So I think it was Councillor Dixon and then Councillor Fair.
Yeah, my comment would be that like 60% goes deferred to officer, and then like considerably, I think last time we did a check, this is a while ago, it might be when Rich was chair planning, we did a check of our opinions and then the Kirklees opinion, and there might be like one or two a meeting but which are different. So a lot of the time they are the same as well. Or there will be sometimes where we do have a difference of opinion, but then when we do have a difference of opinion, Kirklees just what they decide to do happens anyway. I would like to think that the items that Andy mentioned about the highways issues and things like that could become part of the steering group and the planning steering group, so they still would get discussed and still would have some merit and come through to council eventually. I think it would be better actually, the steering group, with it being on Zoom. It makes it easier for people. There's less. It makes it more flexible, as been mentioned. So I've been one over for option B.
Thank you. Councillor Fern.
For those that don't know, in actual fact, planning is all to do with the rules and regulations on planning meetings now are nothing like they used to be when I first got on the planning committee. Councillors on a planning committee in those days had the say as to whether houses got built or they didn't get built. Officers just listened. Then it got to a point regulations came out, which officers then were saying, if you don't agree to this, you're going to cost us a lot of money and we shall come back on you. So things started to turn the other way then. We found that we were going to meetings and asking the plans to be turned down on very good grounds, I can tell you, not childish grounds, good grounds, water, meadows that were wet and flooding, but they took no notice, and it just went on and on forever. I mean, I sat on that planning committee as chairman for 3 years, and over that 3 years it got from reasonable to bad from our point of view, from a council's point of view, because nobody was taking any notice, and if you did say anything out of place as far as they were concerned, officers jumped down your throat and said, look, these have got to be passed. The last houses that were passed, as I held a meeting at the Parish rooms in Holme, about 120 people turned up. That was on a floodplain. We're going to put 19 houses up. We lost that one at the planning committee. There's now 21 houses on there, and they're having to look now how to stop the water flooding. Why don't they listen?
Thank you, Councillor Fair. Does anybody wish to speak who hasn't already
Could I
spoken?
just seek clarification? So are you going for option A or option B? Do you think we should go for steering group or should we keep committees?
Well, which option we take, it's not going to be 100%. I'll go for option B.
I was just going to say that with the stuff from Kirklees, we're going to have this, aren't we, on the next planning meeting, because we've asked for it put in on. I don't know, has Gemma left room?
Oh, this person.
Yeah, I thought, she's obviously, yeah. So, but we have asked for it putting on to discuss that, because we want some more clarification back from Kirklees. So we were going to discuss all that, won't we, at the next meeting? I'm sure Andy knows this. And get something sent to Kirklees and ask for a load of clarification on just, you know, that they've received our comments as well, because they don't actually email back, so they've received them. So there was some work being done on that, but through, and I just wanted to make that known.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? I think Andy, you wanted to come back.
No.
Right. Anybody else? Any more comments? No.
Can I just
yes,
ask, it's early days, but whether Councillor Butler's had any experience of this at the Kirklees end as yet?
In terms of, no, certainly first plan.
I don't know what to do.
This is your burden.
We go down.
Any more comments whilst Councillor Firth gets his water?
Hydration work. It's not that I hate it actually.
Definitely a day to keep hydrated, isn't it, today? Well, thank you. I want to say thank you because I think passions run fairly high on this, and so thank you for the way in which we've discussed this. It's good. So I think we come to a vote then. So I think probably the easiest way to do this is to ask all those in favour of option A, and then all those in favour of option B. Are you happy to proceed on that basis? Yeah. Right, so first of all then, can you raise your hands if you're in favour of option A, which is to retain the existing planning committee and the existing arrangements? Would you like a recorded vote on this? Or?
Yeah,
So
yes, yeah.
Want
to record it, but I want to vote against the against as well.
So, in favour of option A, that's Councillor Wilson, Councillor Bellamy, and Councillor Butler.
Yeah. Right. And now
You need to do against.
we need to do it again. We can do it. Yeah. Do we?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. All those. Okay. All those against option A.
Councillor Backer, Councillor Councillor Whitelaw, Councillor Rostron, Councillor Osborne, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Kirkby, Councillor Holmes, Councillor Green, Councillor Burke, Councillor Dixon, and Councillor Bailey.
Are there any, I don't think there are, but are there any abstentions? No abstentions. So we now move on to vote on option B. So you raise your hand if you are in favour of option B, which is to adopt new arrangements for handling planning matters.
Councillor Backer, Councillor Whitelaw, Councillor Rostron, Councillor Osborne, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Kirkby, Councillor Holmes, Councillor Green, Councillor Burke, Councillor Dixon, and Councillor Bailey. And against?
It's probably against.
One councillor only.
You
don't have to get it true, actually.
And no abstentions. Thank you. Right. Moving on. Given that so option B is obviously carried. So we now have another quite a long set of decisions to make, really. So the first one is to consider that the full council establishes the planning steering group as a permanent working group of full council to meet as required, with meetings open to the public and to report directly to full council. Right.
Do you also want to put that this is to start immediately, or have you got a start date in mind?
Start immediately. Yes. Well, we could add that to the and to start immediately. Right. Right. So can we vote? Can we vote on the text before you, which is number 3, but just with the addition at the end of to start immediately. So all those in favour. Sorry.
So in the terms of reference?
No, we're not in the terms of reference yet.
Do number 3.
We have number 3. At the moment,
Sorry.
at the top of the
Okay.
page. Yeah. No.
Too keen.
It is complex now. So what I'm asking for your views on is to consider number 3, that full council establishes a planning steering group as a permanent working group of full council to meet as required, with meetings open to the public, and to report directly to full council and to start immediately. Can all those in favour of that please raise their hands?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Anyone against? No abstentions?
So that's carried.
That's carried. Right. So we now move on to the terms of reference. Sorry. Yes.
So in the terms of reference, item 5.2 in the terms of reference, and it's talking about which sorts of applications the steering group will consider. And it talks about considering elements in the green belt where there's a risk of significant contextual visual harm. And I can't help feeling that's a bit too specific. I would like to suggest that we just get rid of the bit significant contextual visual harm and just replace that with significant harm.
I'm tempted just to say anything in the green belt because we may not know how to. It's quite difficult to define what falls into them areas, and to one person it might be, another person it might not be. So just say everything in the green belt, and then the group would consider it. And if it is bad, they would think that. I think that's just safer, isn't it?
I think this was part of the issue, wasn't it? That the existing selection is everything in the green belt. That's what's being looked at the moment, and it ends up considering a porch or something, which seems not a good use of really of people's time. I think that what we're trying to get at there is that it was not just a porch, but something that might adversely impact the green belt. That was the idea of that wording.
Yeah, I understand, but I think if the small ones, we do get through them quite quick anyway, and it might just be worth having them on there. I understand. It's just difficult to define what's what, isn't it? We don't want to miss something.
I think, right, so is that, in order of taking these, it makes sense really to take Councillor Dixon's suggested amendment first.
I'm willing to weaken my amendment further to say where there is a risk of harm rather than risk of serious harm.
I picked up from somewhere, and I don't know if it's that central government is thinking about weakening the rules on green belt, creating an area called grey belt.
Oh yes, we spend a lot of time.
Yeah, okay, so forgive me that I've done it, it's a new word of the block, and that a lot of decisions will actually be taken out of the hands of Kirklees Council. I find that extremely worrying. That the fact that the central office in central government can actually write roughshod over the wishes of the. I mean, if what Donald was saying was bad enough, if we were getting override by Kirklees, this will do it large.
Yeah, these are issues that we're pretty much preoccupied with in the reference group on the local plan update, and in particular fair bit of work on it. Sorry.
Yeah, just pedalling back a bit.
Pedalling back,
the actual wording that we might use. It's a very complex area, very tricky area, because a lot of what constitutes harm is subjective, isn't it?
Exactly.
People would see it in different ways, and we're in a sort of invidious position deciding what is and what isn't. So one argument is to look at all of them, or to pass all of them round, and let people say, well, I think this one is worthy of note, or I've had contact from constituents about this one. Whereas others, like you say, just a porch amendment, or Andy's not here, changing a flat roof, isn't going to be contentious. But if we saw them all and then just designated and said which ones we thought were, there'd be a bit more consensus perhaps doing it that way.
Permissible to ask the steering group's first meeting to review
That would make perfect sense.
What I'm suggesting is that given the difficulties we're running into, which inevitably we would do, that I'm going to suggest that at its first meeting, the planning steering group looks at the terms of reference and refines them. Does that sound like a reasonable way forward? So that's my motion. Is that at the first meeting of the steering group, the steering group members look at the terms of reference, because it is an awful lot to take in at this point, and we can happy with that, pinheads and things. So so that's the motion I'm putting forward. Does somebody second that? Thank you. So all those in favour of that? Right. Do we want to record it? We'll keep them with the recording vote, I think.
Do you want it as a recorded vote?
No,
we're not.
It's carried.
It's carried. Yeah. So all those, So so that is, going back to the agenda, that is item 4, so we are not at this point approving the draft terms of reference. We are asking the steering group to, at its first meeting, to determine its terms of reference, what we just agreed. Right. So moving on to number 5, is that the full council approves that all planning applications received from Kirklees Council will be circulated by the clerk team to all parish councillors, and that any councillor may request that an application be considered by the steering group. Are we finished in favour of that? Yeah. That's unanimous, that's carried. So obviously the appointment of the chair of the planning steering group. Is this something we could leave to the meeting of the first meeting?
You can.
Yeah.
You can delegate it to.
Unless there's anybody at this point who would really like to be chair of the planning steering
No,
group.
not volunteers.
You're not volunteering, no.
So I guess my question is,
Okay.
you're appointing things to a planning committee, but there isn't a planning committee, there isn't any councillors on the planning committee.
It's a
So,
steering group.
sorry, a steering group. So how's that steering group going to come together? What are you going to do? Just say any council can turn up and be part of it?
We need to consider the membership, obviously.
Yeah.
That's further down, I think.
Yeah.
Chair,
Yeah.
can I propose that Donna is the chair of the planning committee at the moment? She'd be she's
No.
she's one of the chairs of the steering group.
No,
Fine.
no, thank you.
No.
Okay, propose that we refer it to the next meeting.
Defer it to the first meeting of the steering group.
Yeah.
Right. So 5 we approved, 6 the appointment to the chair, we are deferring that. Are people in, can I just show it, people in favour of deferring the appointment of the chair to the first meeting of the steering group?
That's carried.
And then to consider 7, which is that the full council formally disbands the planning committee with immediate effect, and that all references to planning committee and council documents should be updated accordingly. So that's kind of comes logically from decision already made, doesn't it? So all those in favour of that, which is carried.
No, I'm against
Late
that.
entrant.
Let's do the against, chair, so that we want to do against.
Yes, we probably. Did you want to record your vote as well on this, or?
No,
No. Okay, so-
so.
All right, thank you. So those against? Those against? No? 2? 2. Okay, so that's carried. And obviously this decision has pretty large implications for quite a lot of the standing orders scheme of delegation. So number 8 is to instruct the clerk to update the standing orders, the scheme of delegation, and the committee structure chart and all associated government documents. So that's there at number 8. So can I, all those in favour of that? Thank you. Are those against? And then there were a couple of additional motions, and the first one is that this effectiveness of this new scheme is reviewed after 12 months.
I think we've still got.
Oh, sorry, we missed
number
one
9.
out. Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry, number 9, thank you. Yeah, confirms the full plan reference group and any future neighbourhood development plan working groups report directly to full council. the local plan reference group already does. It moved to a report to full council some while ago. So there will be a need for a neighbourhood development plan working group or steering group or whatever in the not too distant future. So he's suggesting that also, or that will also report to full council. Are those in favour of that? Is there any similar report to full council?
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah,
sorry.
If you're going on to item 10, any other action?
Appoint the steering group.
Sorry?
Appoint the steering group.
Well,
Just realised
there is that. I was
that.
also going to say that when the dust settles on all this, that there is a very detailed explanation on the website as to those responsibilities. The public has to understand, I think, what is being offered and not being offered.
That's good. There were a couple of additional motions. Do we wish to consider these now? The first one is to review the new system, the new arrangements after 12 months. Which seems a sensible thing. It's a very sensible thing to do. So can we? I'll put forward that as a motion. Somebody second it. Thank you. And all those in favour of reviewing it after 12 months. The second additional optional motion, would somebody like to propose that? The pre-application meetings, community events and consultations. You're proposing it, seconding it, right. All those in favour of that? Which seems a really sensible extension about reaching out and community engagement. Right, so any other actions is obviously to
I forgot to put on the agenda. Yeah. You need to appoint a steering group.
Right. So I think who would wish to be on this steering group? I think it's self-nomination, right? Yes, Tom Dixon. Any more?
So I've got Councillor Dixon, Councillor Whitelaw, Councillor Blacker and Councillor Green. Have I missed anyone?
Chair, can I suggest that we email out the other members of the council who aren't here tonight, so that's the rest of that as well.
Thank you.
Another suggestion, a lot is dependent on time available, but if the date of the first meeting were advertised, would it be acceptable for other members? I'm assuming it would be acceptable for the council members to attend.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the only other thing that I would want just to bring to council's attention, obviously Gemma declared an interest earlier, and Andy's in here for this. I would like us to be able to note in minutes, understanding that there needs to be discussion and negotiation with Gemma about her role.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you everybody for kind of battling.
Shall we go, Gemma?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, battling our way through this. And we move on to item 52, which refers to the monitoring officer. So, Clark, 2 reports.
Yeah, so it's been being reported that the monitoring officer currently has 2 open complaints concerning members. One is being investigated and the other one is progressing to a meeting of the assessment panel and decision makers where a finding will be made.
Thank you. And then moving on to item 53, which is declaration of pecuniary and other interests.
Yeah, so just to say that council previously agreed that all DPIs would be refreshed annually as set out in the paper that was included, paper J. The majority have been updated, but a number are still dated prior to December 2025. And just to remind members that maintaining an up-to-date DPI is an individual statutory obligation, and I would appreciate prompt completion from those whose forms remain outstanding.
You know that? Noted.
Yes, I know you want to say on the item.
No.
Right, let's move on to 54, which is annual signing for receipt and agreement to adhere to the Code of Conduct.
So the updated register shows that most members have now signed to confirm receipt of and adherence to the Code of Conduct. 4 signatures are still outstanding. As the wording of the code has not changed since people were elected in May 2023 and after then as well, this is simply an annual acknowledgement and to remind those who've not yet signed that this remains an individual responsibility. The original register is available in the office for signing. Just a note.
Thank you. It's just can we note that? Moving on to some more items to note, which is item 55, governance matters.
So at annual council, I provided an overview of several linked governance matters, some of which have since concluded, some of which remain under consideration by the monitoring officer and the data protection officer at Parish Leeds. Until those processes are complete, I am limited in what I can report publicly, but a fuller update will be brought to council at the appropriate point, hopefully in September. For now, members are asked to note the governance support invoice and to consider the proposed allocation for external HR support. I'm happy to answer any questions people want to raise, but obviously I'm limited in what I can say.
Can we? Yes, sir.
It's more of an observation. There's a lot of money being spent on this. You know, it's an invoice for 7,500 plus that. Councillor Brooke wrote to me a couple of times as I was sort of departing from the staffing committee chair role, asking for more transparency. And I'd like to be more transparent about it and say that it was avoidable. This money would not have been spent. And I really would like, and we can't have this conversation fully tonight, unfortunately, even though it's about some concluded items, because some of the individuals are not present. No, it's not. But I really, really want to know, and I think everyone here should want to know on behalf of the local ratepayers, what's actually been achieved from all this, because I think it's stuff on.
I think we can't really have any further discussion of this at this point. Can we please just note the invoice, including the detailed breakdown which was requested by one council. So we have there a detailed breakdown, and it is a large. This is a large amount of money.
And can you also consider expenditure of up to £2,000 from general reserve for external human resource support?
That's on the next page. Right. Yes. So we are asked. The process is moving into a new stage, which as it informs you on the agenda there, it includes a grievance. Up to this point, the issues have been around governance. We're now moving into a different stage, which involves HR. So, and obviously the council doesn't have this expertise within it, so we have to go to an external expert. So can I propose that the Parish Council agrees for the expenditure up to 2,000 from general reserves for external human resource support. Somebody else, thank you. Yeah, second. So all those in favour of agreeing to that expenditure? Thank you. So I think, can we just, all those in favour, can you just show again, so we just make sure we get this right? Thank you.
Nine?
Right. All those against? All those abstaining? Thank you. The clerk will liaise with the chair and with me on how we proceed with this. Thank you for that. So we're moving on to perhaps lighter issues, which is the digital information screen, item 56, and this is Councillor Whitelaw.
It's in two parts, this one. Jenna, do you want to talk about the
Subject one in the civic. This is.
Well, we take, yes, so should we take that one? Yeah, there were two information screens, sorry, and the first one is you, sorry. No,
Okay.
Councillor Whitelaw.
Well, this is, well, it's imminent that the foyer is going to be redecorated, and there's been a request from the civic to have, well, they've requested 2 screens, and I think we should agree to that because I think that will be useful information, but so long as one of the screens is maintained, controlled by the parish council so that it can give information about what the parish council's activities are. And in liaison, I'm working closely with Dawn, so, you know, there's cooperation there between the civic, but I think it's important that the public have an opportunity to have more information about what the parish council is doing when they come into the parish council building. So, it's whether we will agree an expenditure of up to £1,000. We obviously want, because the decoration is imminent, having the electrical work done at the same time seems sensible.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor William?
I was just wondering if there's any information on the climate impact of this electrical device. I mean, it may well be more beneficial than the amount of paper currently being used, but has it been considered, is my question.
I have to say it hasn't been considered, and I really appreciate you raising that point because I think we should have considered it. And I don't know the answer to that. I think sometimes we have to do, well, here we are all sitting at our laptops and using technology that's not good for the environment. So I think it's worth it, it's what I'm going to say, but I agree we should have talked about it carefully.
Thank you. So that, yeah, you put forward a motion. Somebody wish to second that? Second, thank you.
No,
You're not seconding it.
Is this for the internal ones, Jo?
This is the internal one.
I'll second
Two
it.
internal ones. So that when people come into the parish, what's this building called?
I'll
The civic
second the
hall.
internal ones. I've got a problem with the
I'm not clear exactly what's in the motion. Are we including in the motion the requirement that one of the screens be for
Yes,
the parish council?
and one for the civic.
And should we maybe consider also adding a requirement for a climate impact statement to go with the screens?
If you can tell me how we include that, I mean, we can put some information about the climate and recycling on the screens. Is that a sensible thing to be doing? I'm trying to mitigate this as best I can now because it's, yeah,
Councillor Kirkby.
Right, so the motion doesn't say one's for HVPC, the other one.
it doesn't, I want to amend that.
Right, so you want to amend that, and has that been agreed with the civic, that we will have one each?
My understanding then was that they would both be shared, actually.
Right.
What they were asking for was that they would run them, but we could put our content on it as well.
Right, I think Councillor Bailey and then Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, I was going to suggest it is probably across the two screens and that we make it a condition of the money that we're spending here, rather than having to go back and negotiate it.
Yes.
So I would we agree it with that condition.
So, Councillor Dixon, and then we'll come to a motion.
Yeah, for the climate change statement, can we ensure that the TVs are all energy emitting TVs? That's considering the climate we're into.
Sorry, to do what I understand.
Considering that the televisions that we purchase are all energy emitting.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's
Thank you.
we're considering the climate emergency then. Yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Kirkby?
I guess my point on that is, if you're using more future technology, i.e. low emitting TVs, low energy emitting TVs, you might not be paying £400 for them.
In the long term. Yeah.
Well, if you want to buy any energy efficient TVs, you're probably not going to get to for £400, which is what's in them.
Well, they need to consider it and decide what the best we can get for the cost.
Right, okay.
Right, so, Councillor Holmes, your motion has been amended, I think. Are you happy to accept
Yes.
an amendment? So that would be the addition that the Parish Council information goes on one of the.
Well, the fact, I'm quite happy for them to be shared, but I think so long as the Parish Council has some control over some of the things that go on it. I think
That's
it's
the
important.
discussions that we've had, is that we
Yes.
would be able to put our content on alongside
And that would-
and
and
on
that-
both.
And that would be a condition of agreeing the money.
Yes.
Yes, go on.
Sorry, why do you need two?
One will be upcoming events, one will be regular events, and one will be a kind of scrolling Tuesdays badminton, Mondays Pilates kind of thing. And one will be bootleg Beatles coming up on the whatever date.
Right, are we, sorry, yeah, go on.
It's just that I did feel the statement from the Civic Trust about these screens did seem to sort of include the parish councils a little afterthought. You know.
I know. That's what I wanted the
So I do feel this amendment about
Yes.
a more
Share.
prominent role more prominent sharing for the council.
Yes, I'm always
It's important that's
advocating.
in there.
Our visitors tonight had no idea that there was an office up here or that the parish council existed up here. And that has always been my ongoing complaint, that people coming into this building need to know we're up here and the things that the parish council are doing. So, yes, I think it's important that that information is received when they come into this
So
building.
can somebody suggest a form of word? So we're proposing expenditure of up to, it doesn't have to be that much, up to 1,000 from general reserves for the purchase and installation of 2 digital screens in the foyer of the Civic. And with the expectation, what do we?
To be monitored by the parish council and the civic. I don't know whether monitors is the word or managed
Managed
or
content.
managed content
With the content managed
by the parish
by the
council
parish
and
and
the
the
civic.
Equally.
Equally.
Equal, thank you. Yeah, equal. Yeah, equal. Are
Yes.
people happy with that? Have you got the gist of this now, which is to approve expenditure on 2 screens? Yeah.
Can I just,
Yeah.
sorry, I just want clarification from Gemma, because my understanding is that it will be the civic staff that do the managing of it, but
I
we
will
will,
send them content.
yeah, just to be absolutely clear with everyone, so that everyone realises that. And
somebody from that parish has to send it on.
And I don't think you bottomed out or resolved the point that was made about a low energy emitting TV, 2 of them, probably going to cost you more than £1,000.
Can we include at the end of that saying, and that the climate impact be considered
Yes.
when purchasing the TVs or the screens?
It's a monitor, it's not a telly, it's not going to make an impact on climate.
This, I mean, and this may just be a fairly interim solution anyway, given the, you know,
I think it might be a 5-year interim though, so.
the wholesale reshaping of the civic display just be a fairly, you know, only a few years at least. Right. So if we add a clause about the taking into account the impact on the environment. Are you okay with that, Jenny, then?
Yes, I am.
Right, okay, so somebody wants a second?
I seconded
You seconded it
earlier.
I knew you
I
had to.
just still think this climate and it won't have an impact on the climate, but never mind. It's a
Are
monitor.
you happy with the
Yeah,
changes? Okay,
yeah.
so all those in favour of yeah, thank goodness. Expenditure of up to £1,000. Thank you. Okay, is that right? All those in favour? Again, thank you. So we need to go that. That's the majority, isn't it? That's the majority. That's carried. Thank you. I didn't expect that one to provoke so much heat. So on not much.
It would have just made it climate friendly.
Yeah, it's probably very bad for the environment. Right, so moving on to the second screen, which is the external screen, and yes, so Councillor Whitelaw's going to talk about this and propose a motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the first thing to say about this is that this is an item that came to full council from service provision, and that I think was the right decision, that it's something that needs to be considered by full council. But I need to be really, really clear here. This is not about a motion saying we are going to go ahead and install a screen outside. This is a motion which says, do you give me and the working party permission to go and find out all the information that we need in order to be able to make a reasonable judgment about something of this nature. And I'm sure you've all read in detail too, but I'll just clarify what it says. The purpose of an outdoor digital information screen is to provide a simple, highly visible and continuously available communicational channel between the council and its residents. Unlike websites, social media platforms or newsletters, which rely on residents actively seeking information, a digital screen delivers important messages directly to people as they go about their daily activity. This helps ensure that information reaches a wider audience, including those who may not be regular users of digital services. I would also add to that, a digital screen doesn't require any printing, so it's not a paper issue, it's a technological issue. But I come back to the point that this proposal, this motion, is for an agreement in principle to say, off you go, get all the information that you think is needed, that everybody thinks is needed, and come back and tell us what you think, and that's when you will vote on it.
Thank you. So you're happy to, the wording in there, you're putting that forward as a motion?
Yep.
Would somebody like to second? Thank you. Anybody wish to speak, either in favour?
My concern with this is the external screen. It's very Holme specific, obviously, because I know where you were thinking of putting it. And what happens come September when the Kirklees make their minds up if they're going to split the parish council into two? Because then I can imagine what people in Holme are going to say about the amount of money that's been spent. That's my only issue with it. But
This is about an in-principle investigation.
Yeah, I know it is.
It's not about citing anywhere.
No, but that is what my concerns are. And I did tell you that
and it
before.
would be when you came to vote.
Yeah. And I did
When
tell
you got all
that.
the information.
Yeah, I did tell you that.
Thank you. Right,
Can I make an amendment and that Sarah also considers maybe citing one in Holme as well as part of our investigations, thinking about that.
A citing
Yeah.
will be part of the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in theory we could have one in Holme and one in Holme Firth.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Or not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does say.
So consider it, yeah.
It does, yeah, that's what I mean.
That's my amendment
Yes.
anyway. So we should consider it.
So
yeah.
delete in the centre of Holme first. Yeah. In the
It
parish
does,
council,
yes.
parish council area.
Sorry.
Right. So we amend
Or
right.
elsewhere.
Yeah. Or just in the parish council area, maybe.
Yes.
Would be better. Right. So, this has been, this motion has been proposed and it's been seconded. Does anybody else wish to comment? Shall we just go for a vote? So it's a request for an agreement in principle, obviously, as Sarah said, not for any specific expenditure at this point. So, all those in favour of this motion, which is an agreement in principle,
To explore.
to explore, it's just to explore.
It's a research project.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right,
So
make an informed decision.
I'm happy for it to take some more.
I think, can you, is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's carried, yeah, thank you, thanks. Thanks Sarah. Moving on to 57, which we seem to, this has been cropped up a lot, hasn't it? Simply some side letter completion, big size of relief, I think, and congratulations to the working party, in particular Councillor Bellamy, who's led that working party. It's been a long,
Jen,
it's been a
Jen,
long,
Jen did a lot of work as well.
Shall we have that? Let's have that recorded in a minute.
I would, yes. And the solicitors were brilliant and Jen was absolutely fantastic. Kept me on track. Maybe I should thank AI as well, but perhaps not.
It was a group effort.
Yeah, we did. A lot of people put a lot on as well.
So all we're being asked to do is just to note the payment of Ramsden's invoice, which you have. So
This was just to say this is what we were referring to in the schedule of payment, because as I say, it's definitely been discussed at full council, and it was like in the ether, but we didn't actually get the wording into the motion to say that we. Anyway.
Okay, so we're just noting that, and we've approved the payment, didn't we, early on today?
I have sort of emailed in thanks for Ramsden's, but I mean you might want formal letters sent to them to thank them for.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, on behalf of the whole parish council. Yeah.
I mean, I know I were emailing
Good
them
idea.
as well as you, and now I'm thanking them. But I think tonight out loud.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Jenny. And Donna. Wait. Right. Moving back rather to the civic Vision Working Group. I think maybe focus on the public consultation. So brief report, I think.
It is, yes.
Jenny.
Just say that the most significant work of the Vision Working Group is the very imminent launch of the public consultation, Your Civic, Your Say, with the artwork prepared by Known Aim. Invitations have gone out to a very large number of people, and it's happening this Thursday, 25th. Drop-in starting at 6:30, presentations at 7 o'clock. So do come along, this is about the future of our building, so it's really something that I hope everybody will make an effort to be there on Thursday. And if you can't get to that meeting, then there's a survey, an online survey that's going to be in 6 weeks. We want to encourage everybody to get involved in this. So if you belong to any group that you think would like anybody from the group to come along with the mobile display and talk to them about their ideas, we want to collect everybody's ideas on the future of the Civic. So do get in touch. Our first outing of this is on the 27th at Holme Show. So we're hoping to talk to a lot of people about the future of the Civic at Holme Show. And again, if there's anywhere else you want us to take this information and get people involved, then please join in. It's our building, and we want everybody involved in this.
Thank you.
Can I just have a minuted that we're really thankful to Gemma and Dawn for doing all the work on this publicity, and if you use social media of any description, keep your eyes open for the adverts about everything. It's a continuous thing, because it shoves it up the visibility ranks.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on again to Holford's Town Centre Works, a standing item. Do we have any update on the
town centre works?
Yes, I've got a little, an update. One of the tasks was to write to Reynolds and ask about the waste possibly going into the river. Apologies, it was the 19th of May before I managed to get a letter done to them, but I did write to them saying Holme Valley Parish Council has recently received concerns from members of the public regarding potential for waste materials from ongoing works in Home First Centre to enter the river running through the town. Given the sensitivity of the local environment and the importance of maintaining high standards of environmental protection, the council is seeking your confirmation that no waste products, including tarmac, spoil or other construction residues, are entering the watercourse at any stage of the works. We'd also be grateful if you could outline the measures currently in place to prevent contamination of the river as the project moves towards its conclusion. This information will assist the council in responding to residents and ensuring that appropriate safeguards are being maintained. In addition, the council would appreciate an updated indication of the expected completion date for the works. So I did get a reply, I've got it today, I have to chase it up. So it is from Sean Rathman, the project manager. So it says, in regard to your correspondence around the environmental management of the works adjacent to the river home, works are carried out in accordance with an accepted flood risk activity permit issued by the Environment Agency. This details accepted methods of work that mitigate both the risk of flood and contamination incidents occurring within the river channel during the construction phase of the works. Additional environmental controls, good practice techniques have been implemented during the course of the works to further reduce the risk of environmental incidents. These include and are not limited to 1. The installation of silt fencing to prevent runoff. 2. The installation of scaffold crash deck below the original bridge deck during the demolition phase of the market hall and existing bridge to prevent demolition rubble from entering the watercourse, supplemented by a physical clean out of the watercourse of any demolition rubble not contained on the crash deck. 3. A camera survey of unknown origin pipes spanning the river channel to determine redundancy of the system prior to removal. And 4. Temporary works designs for formwork shutters used during the placement of concrete to the structures immediately adjacent to the watercourse to mitigate against formwork failure and spillage of concrete into the watercourse. 5. Provision of pollution booms and spill kits on site to control, manage and enable clean-up of pollution incidents. 5. Use of biodegradable oils on site and the storage of fuels, oils and liquid materials in fully bundled and lockable storage tanks. So that was the response that I have had. It doesn't include a date when the works are supposed to finish.
That was my question. Can somebody tell me when is it going to be finished? Because we're certainly past spring.
I do like to think, building on that, I do think the council should reflect the extreme hardship that this is causing to a lot of the retailers in the centre of Home Firth. To my knowledge, there's another business went bust exactly because of the roadworks. She said put out on social media, and that's the vintage clothing one. And just a survey of the local retailers, there's at least 25 full-time equivalent jobs that have gone. I really do think that as a council we should reflect the very strong feelings that the business community have. I think they feel that they've been neglected and ignored, and we should have been, they've been ridden roughshod over them. If you go and speak to the retailers, as I have, there's been some frankly catastrophic figures. We're talking six-figure losses. We're talking people have taken out the 3rd bank loan. Okay, and these are real businesses and real lives, and I think, and although it's quite right that we should speak about environmental issues, I do think as a council we should actually make a representation to Curtis Council to say this is unacceptable and because it wouldn't be hyperbole to say that it's killing the centre of Home Firth. It really is. Yeah, there's the businesses, once those businesses and those are real livelihoods, they're gone, don't get them back.
That's right, yeah. So I would like the council to consider putting a
Thank you,
section.
Councillor Butler. First, Councillor Berlin and then Councillor White.
I appreciate with you here, sitting here with two hats on. Have you addressed this with the contractors as well?
I have tried to get a meeting with Dave,
Shepherd.
no, David Shepherd, he's off sick at the moment. No, it's David Wilder. Yeah, he so far has refused to see me. Funnily enough, just today, I wrote to him saying I do need to, I and other members of the Holme Valley South ward do need to have a meeting with it as a matter of urgency. But I would like the council to actually reflect that feeling that's in with the retailers. Absolutely. I mean, it is not good what's going on. And it's no good to be fobbed off and say it's going to be great in the future. These businesses go under, they go under.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Councillor White.
I absolutely understand what you're saying, and I've been involved in the conversations about this for really quite a long time. Have you had the opportunity to go to any of the Tuesday meetings?
I did go to the Tuesday in the library. Yes, I have. I also did a survey with a enforcement officer to looking at the roads and the confusion of signage and inappropriate road markings. I've submitted a full report to David Wildman. I'm not happy. I can't say that I am at all. But if he's not seeing me, other than that in itself is, I think, he said he's delegated it to his officers, and that's fine. But now it's 10 days, I think, or 12 days since I actually wrote to him in the first place. Maybe that you think that's an acceptable amount of time, but I don't, and people's livelihoods are at risk. And it is that. And we need to write to the council, I believe, and say it's not acceptable.
We have taken action more than once in the past.
I'm happy to second though that we write again.
Along the lines that you suggest. So let's just, you can come back and then it's Councillor Fair.
So two observations really, I think, in relation to this whole matter. One is that this has been an example, I think, and continues to be, although it's better, continues to be an example of the paucity of communication that has been apparent throughout the whole of the management of this project. And that is not unusual in some parts of Kirklees Council, not all by any stretch of the imagination. The second thing I would say, and maybe this is a bit contentious, is that the roadworks is not the only factor that's affecting the retail in Holmford. We know that in terms of businesses failing, going under, closing, the number of newcomers is higher than it is nationally. So it's not a completely desperate situation, although obviously it is for those people who are experiencing these dramatic falls in their business and their income.
Thank you. It's about 9 o'clock, so we need we need to, if we're going to continue, which we have not many items left, but we need to suspend standing orders. Can I have your agreement to show hands suspending standing orders? Thank you. So we can continue. Councillor Butler, you wanted to put forward a motion?
Just to say that we should, yes, I would say, that is that we should write to Kirklees Council, expressing our displeasure at how long this is taking, how it is, frankly, causing great hardship for many of our businesses in the centre of Holmford. And it's a disgrace, it is. And I accept that there's always churning in small businesses, that's not an issue. But when businesses are losing some businesses are losing six-figure sums in terms of turnover. Turnovers are about 80%, 90% down because people can't get to the shops. We, without giving any commercial information, somebody lost
£1,500 only.
Thanks,
It
Councillor
makes
Butler.
it
You've
bigger.
made your
Oh,
point,
okay.
and you
second
you
that.
put forward a motion that the parish council writes to Kirklees Council.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr Wildman, himself,
Yeah, and it's seconded by, do you want to work out the wording of the letter or the?
So you want displeasure expressed at the time taken and the hardship caused. Anything else particularly to be referenced?
As a second suggestion, I think they should get a lot of those businesses should get rent relief because they've lost a lot of money and through no fault of their own. And it's like, at least we could throw them a bone and say, hey, we recognise your pain, but we have to do our incompetence.
I think we're moving on to a different issue there. So the motion was about complaining about the length of time it's taken and the adverse effect on businesses. You could leave that not about it. So we've got a proposal, we've got a seconder. So all those in favour of writing to Kirklees again. It's carried. Yeah. Thank you very much. So,
Chair,
yeah.
Councillor Firth was going to speak, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
What I was going to say is, I did get a bit uptight earlier on because, quite honestly, you asked the wrong people to come tonight. You should have asked the business people to come tonight. They've only come tonight because they're frightened. There's been got at by a number of people, including businesses, who are up to the nose end with them. And we had that gentleman here not many weeks ago. He'd had 2.5 years to sort out the planning and where the market was going to go and where the bins were going to go. He's done nothing, not a thing in 2.5 years. Now that's not good.
I think we need to be very careful about
I'm not careful at all. If you, listen, you don't get anywhere with being over careful and making excuses for people. If I'd have been got out, I'd have altered my way straight away. Because the bottom line is, people are, as our friend here said, people are fed up. And it's no good coming out with excuses saying, we're all right.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm sorry I missed your hand up earlier.
Don't worry about it.
Let's move on to item 60, which is from the Service Provision Committee. Home for toilets, refurb, Alison.
It's just what happened in service provision, that there was £5,000 earmark reserve that was putting back into general reserve just to go in different routes and not seeking help from them.
Right. So can we approve this recommendation from the thank you, from the Service Provision Committee? Yeah, that's carried. Are you dealing with this one, the item 61, Assistant Clerk Report, Communication Engagement Working Group?
Yes, just a couple of really quick ones from me, but I may need someone to put proposals forward for me. Just notes and actions and our current action plan that we've run through in the last week or so, to let you know where they are and that they are on track. So those to have a look at if you are interested, and then a couple of things. One was to change the name of the working group to a steering group. Really just semantics, but it better reflects the sort of long-term oversight role of that particular group rather than task and finish. So if someone could put that forward.
So this is about changing the name of the street. So all those in favour of the change? Thank you, that's carried.
Okay, the second one was because you'd approved last time some money from the budget line to pay for the artwork, etc. for the civic consultation. That's going to potentially leave us short on some of the committed expenditure that we've got in that budget line for the rest of the year, because that wasn't budgeted for, or it wasn't for that much anyway. So there is an EMR for community engagement that was sort of put aside for such projects if needed. So it would be equivalent expenditure from the EMR to sort of cover that shortfall. We might not need all of it. In fact, I think we probably won't need all of it. But it was just to put it into the budget, the wider budget, so that we can use that to cover the shortfall.
So somebody had to propose that, councillor, and seconded, proposed, seconded, and all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried.
The last one is just to note, so I will be putting together a standardised document, because you may notice that all three clerks put together papers in a slightly different way, in slightly different fonts and things like that, and we've agreed that we will work out what is the best presentation in terms of accessibility and readability, and go for that. But just to let you know, that will be happening at some point. We haven't done it yet.
Good news, so we should note that. Thank you. And then finally, I think reports from the people councillors that we don't have any visitors at the moment. So, Councillor Dixon.
It says on here that the agenda has been shared with the Kirklees Ward councillors to invite any feedback from them regarding news from Kirklees. I just would like to express my disappointment that we've had no reports come in from what's going on, and that one of our councillors, he's still quite new, so he might not know that we expect reports back, but he decided to leave 2 minutes ago rather than give us a report. So can we just express our disappointment that no reports have been given, or and by those that have passed on their apologies as well, because you can just send a quick email, can't you? It doesn't take long.
Yeah, I'm sitting here squirming, because now I'm wondering, did I send out the agenda to them this time? And I'm not sure that I did.
Okay.
So that could be my fault entirely.
You sent the agenda out to 3 of them.
I usually send the
so
agenda out.
three of them did get it, and we've had no report. So I was going to ask some questions today about the leadership of Kirklees and actually what's actually going on with it. So, yeah, exactly. But that's what I want to know.
Right,
He's running Kirklees Council.
Yep.
order please, we are in
before. Time before.
I mean, it's way more competent than most of the councillors as well.
Councillor Dixon.
Listen, why don't you go down and put your name forward?
Because
That's what we're going to do. You go down and do it.
Councillor Dixon,
You're in first one.
given the misgivings of Clark, do you want to go ahead with that, or do we reserve it till the next meeting?
No, I think it's a fair comment.
You think?
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll go, yeah.
Yes, although it's on every full council.
It's a standing item. It's a standing item.
Yeah.
It's a standing
It's
item.
not like it's a new item, is it?
So,
So,
I gather the sense of the meeting is they're happy to take that course of action suggested by Councillor Dixon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we need to vote on it? All in favour? Let's, oh yes, fine, that's the majority. Right, miscellaneous items for publicity. Anybody want to identify anything on it? Sorry.
I just wanted to sort of reiterate that the consultation for the civic will be going live on, and the survey will be going live from Thursday. So we're sort of pushing the event at the moment, and then we'll be pushing the survey from Thursday onwards. If you see it, share it, please. That's always really helpful. It helps to share it to more people. We are at Holly Show on Saturday. Thank you to everybody who volunteered. I think we are largely all sorted. But I will be posting a little bit about that. And we've also got the final tourism videos that are ready to go, but I'm going to wait until Thursday so that we can kind of push this consultation first and then send those out as well.
Do we need to say something about the planning decision, because it will change the relationship with
I
constituents?
don't know what you decided, because I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I'm just saying, maybe you could be brief about what we decided.
We need some text putting together, don't we?
Well,
yeah.
I was suggesting before that we let the dust settle first, because we don't know exactly what it's going to look like.
Steering, yeah.
So I think that should happen. It has to happen,
Yeah.
and not necessarily just at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Anybody else for any more? It's only 10 minutes past the closing time.
Anybody wants to take one of these flyers, pass it on to anybody they know? There's just a few around and there will be more available at the meeting on Thursday.
Thank you. Well, thanks everybody for your attendance and participation. We've got through a lot in a reasonable amount of time, so thank you so much.